Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing? I hope you're all right. Oh shit, I forgot to get my water. 1 second. Because we cannot do any of this stuff without water. Each and every bloody time, I tell you. Hi, Shayla. Okay. So let's get this crack-a-lacking. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I can't really see who is joining until you either show up on your profile picture or whatnot, but whoever is here, welcome to today's Spiritual Awakening lesson number 22. I'm sorry I'm a couple of minutes late here, but I had to, I was like, let me wipe off my whiteboard, but then I was like, shit, this is more of a communication kind of thing today, so we're gonna go through things that way. Right, so today's Spiritual Awakening Class 22 is all about how to tell what is reality versus what is your imagination. Hey Arthur, it's lovely to see you. Vladimir, it's lovely to see you as well, my dear. Whoever else is watching, it is fantastic to see you and welcome for joining. Again, I cannot see everybody that is coming on board. I think that's Elio who just joined. Not quite sure yet, but we'll see. I love you guys. Okay, so one of the main reasons why I wanted to do this is because a lot of clairvoyants, a lot of people who are awakening to their third eye at the moment, or even if you've always been aware of the functioning of your third eye and you're like, I get dreams, I get images, I get senses of what is real, or like it seems so real, but then we blow it off as if it is just our imagination. And then lo and behold, some shit happens. You're like, holy shit, I dreamed this. Or like, what the hell happens? And it comes true. And then it kind of makes us question our reality. It kind of makes us question like, yo, I don't know what's real or what's fake anymore, because awakening to these energies can bring about such new experiences that it makes us go a little bit like, yeah, I am so doing really, really well. Thank you, Vladimir. You know, I was this last couple of weeks since the last full moon into this new moon as well. I was so freaking tired. So now I'm finally feeling like, energy's coming back. We good. Hi there, Vladimir, sweet pea. It's lovely to see you. Good evening. And Priscilla as well. Nice to see you, dear. So yes, I'm finally feeling, I'm like, okay, yeah, let's get back onto these lessons. Let's do all these bits and pieces. Hey there, Arton, sweetheart. It's wonderful to see you, dear. Okay, so let's go into this a little bit. Now, I definitely recommend taking some notes if you feel that you would like to. We're going to be going through, within this class, we're going to be going through the kind of understanding of the concepts of the of your imagination versus what is reality. But then we're also going to go through an exercise at the end too, so you can get an understanding of what or how to tell if something is physically here in manifestation, or how to tell if your vision is real versus if it is still something in the distance. So let's talk about this concept first and see where we're going to go from there. Now, what I have is, of course, I have my, this is my automatic writing, or my notes that I take, allowing the information to flow through from source, of course, as to what is reality and what is not. So I'm going to be reading out some of these things, but we're going to kind of go in sections for today. It's funny because at the end of the day, whenever I do this, it's really myself talking to myself, now talking to you, if that all makes sense. Hey there, Stacy, sweetheart. It's wonderful to see you, my dear. Okay, so let's go with this, breaking it down, so we can get full understanding. And I promise you, if you can get this concept, your manifestations, your ability to read energy, your ability to spot the differences is going to heavily increase, right? So have a very open mind today when you're taking in this lesson, and just humor yourself. And I'm going to challenge you for the next week after you hear this information. Humor yourself and just be like, I'm just going to take it as it is and see what happens. Okay, so how to tell what's real and what is imagination. Hey, Aurora, sweetheart. Hey, Stacy. It's lovely to see you guys. Imagination, and again, let's start with the beginning. Imagination is nothing more than a concept of reality made up in your thoughts, an image in your brain connecting you to the reality that you speak. Okay? So let's take that into concept there, and I'll read that again. Imagination is nothing more than a concept of reality, right? Made up in your thoughts. So within that statement right there, we're saying that your imagination, although you believe that it is, that you may believe, and again, let's go into belief. Belief versus knowledge. There is literally be, lie, if in belief, right? So when you are believing that your imagination is nothing but an illusion, that is where the lie comes into place, right? And the source is now saying like, yo, it's not that it is not reality. It is just a concept of reality. It is another part of reality made up in your thoughts, okay? Or being experienced or created in your thoughts. An image in your brain connecting you to the reality that you speak. Because as we are all creators, as we are all individuals who are constantly manifesting, we are constantly creating, right? If we speak it out into this dimension, it will solidify, right? But again, we're going to go into the details as how that happens a little bit later. So I hope we're all on the same page. And by the way, if you are like, yo, I am not on the same page, or you got a question or you got a query, you're just like, re-explain that or reiterate, that's absolutely fine. Just pop it in the comments and we'll go from there too. So I don't mind, feedback. Now, the realization of this will be determined of who is who and what is what when looking through the lens of clairvoyance. Hey there, Mark, sweetheart. Welcome, my dear. Now, many people believe their visions to be immune to change and the waves of vibration, but this is, in fact, reality. But this is a falsity as well when you have the illusion, that things don't change. Sorry, let me read that one more time. Many people believe their visions to be immune to change and the waves of vibration, but this is a falsity because your images that you're making up in your mind, and again, when I say images, it's the whole thought process, because usually when we have, unless you were born blind or you have never experienced a vision before or to see something, for example, people who are born blind they will hear things. That is their experience in their thought process. They are still manifesting their reality based on what they're here. However, many people are born with the beautiful gift of sight. So, of course, what we do is we visualize as we are speaking or as we are thinking. It's very difficult to, if I were to be like water, or say the name water, most of you will no doubt have a vision of water at some point that will just pop up in your mind's eye, because of course that is what is connecting you to this. So now when you have like a vision, or when you have that image in your head, a lot of people think that, oh, it's not changing, or it is just simply it is nothing but that image. But nah, you have literally just accessed a certain vibration, right? That vibration is going to come into reality as you are feeling it. Okay, your imagination is reality, but whether you experience it or not in this dimension will be determined by how much energy you inflict upon that image. Okay, so let's go into that one, right? When you are, and I'm going to read it one more time, the realization of what you are speaking into reality is going to be determined, like who is who, what is what, that you are looking through, because you are looking through that clairvoyant lens. So when you are in that place where, sorry, let me read this. So yes, going back into my own notes, right? The imagination is reality, but whether you experience it or not in this dimension will determine on how much energy you inflict upon that image. Okay, so what do we mean by that? Well, we mean that the more you hold a vision or something in your imagination, the more you focus on it, the more you put energy into it, that is going to be determined by how soon it does become reality for you, right? And I keep going as to how soon it becomes reality, because again, so many people, they think like, oh my gosh, I had this vision of you in a house and you on a boat, and they're like, oh no, that's not going to be there. But if you kept focusing on this person or that vision of them in that house or this person in that boat, at some point it's going to come into play where you're like, holy shit, you're in that house and you just went on that boat, like literally last week. And this is where so much confusion can come into place, right? Okay. So again, how much energy, how many times you keep that vision in your mind's eye will determine how soon it comes into play. Now, the universe needs time to prepare. The more outlandish the image, or the more the part of your imagination where you're like, wow, I've never experienced that, the more outlandish it is, or creation, the more time it will take it to come into reality or into creation. Now, not that it cannot happen, just when will it happen is one of the main things that is going through. The time it takes, the times take more than the lessons. All right. To shoot for the stars is to see the earth in hell, and create heaven where you stand. So instead know that you are the star, and vibe with that rather than aim for the stars. I hope this makes sense. So now, let me go with that again. So the universe needs time to prepare. The more outlandish the image or creation, the more time it will take to come into creation. Not that it can't happen, just about when it will happen. So time takes more energy than the lessons. To shoot for the stars is to see the earth in hell and create heaven where you stand. So instead of that, instead know that you are the star and vibe with that rather than aim for it. Sorry, sometimes I try to read a sentence that came from my heart and explain that sentence when it's connected to the next sentence, right? So I'm going to do my best to simplify this, not only for you guys, but so that when I'm actually doing it, it's not coming out in terms of gibberish. So what that paragraph is basically meaning is that when you imagine something, it's not that, like, when will it happen or if it is going to happen, unless you're experiencing something like, you have dragons in your mind's eye and you can feel them, or you have pink unicorns. That's a very outlandish kind of thing in your imagination. And I know this sounds odd, and this is where I'm like, hey, if you can put your perspective around this reality, if you were to literally focus on dragons all day long or pink unicorns all day long, at some point that is going to come into your reality, right? And when we were saying here, to shoot for the stars, because you know how many people are like, hey, shoot for the stars, anything in your wildest dreams, like, that's actually saying that you are in a lower state, right? Or you're in a state of hell, as we would think, and hell is all the things that you don't enjoy, and hence why you are shooting for the stars or aiming for something higher than yourself, when in reality it's kind of like, nah, if you know that you are the star, that you already are here, then that is what you vibe from, and that is where you do create your own personal heaven here on this earth, or when your imagination truly becomes instant reality, right? But again, we have to get ourselves around this and just to be like, nah, we are creating every single thing that we are imagining, right? And again, one of the reasons why I constantly say in my lessons, imagine that you're here with me, or I'm going to imagine that I'm there with you. But then you start to really feel me. You start to feel my hand on your shoulder. You start to feel it when I touch your third eye. You hear my voice as if I am there. And you may think I'm imagining this shit. It's like, no, you're not. Because it's really happening. We're just using that word to get around the blockages in your mind. So, how do you tell what is real versus what you are experiencing in your imagination? The third eye functions on reality and truth. So I want you to think every time you are gaining something or communications within your imagination, you're using the functioning of your third eye. This little sucker only literally responds to reality and truth. It will give you the truth. Even if the truth is a lie at that time, it will reveal it to you, right? So that's why, a lot of the times when people are trying to manipulate you, or you're seeing something that feels wrong and you know it's wrong, your third eye picks up on that. Now, whether you choose to go with it or not, that's totally your own, that's your own free will and your own decision. But your third eye is functioning on reality and truth. Regardless of whatever dimension that you are in, it will only function on that. Now, how do you know that? Well, because in order for you to even access your third eye and get this shit to function at a proper rate, you need to take care of it. To take care of it, you need to see things in truth. And when you see things in truth, you are vibrating at a higher dimension or a higher frequency, right? With more knowledge and awareness, which again is only brought in by truth, right? By development, by love energy. So it's kind of like, if you are giving yourself all of this truthful love and so forth to get your third eye to function, that is what it is going to go on. It can be clouded by, of course, sinister things like fears and so forth, but it will still show you the truth of it. If it's clouded by, like, just the same thing, if you get a piece of glass and you throw dirt on it and it's clouded by dirt, you'll still look at the glass and be like, oh, well, that's dirt. You know, it's not like it's a pile of leaves, whatever. Just because it's clouded doesn't mean it won't show you what it's clouded by. It's up to you to determine what that is by basing it on your own truth and your own energy, of course. So, trusting in your eye is a major issue. Many energy workers, healers, and clairvoyants and seers actually face. So, what that's saying is, of course, as we know, this is all about truth. This is all about reality. That is what your third eye bases things on, right? However, like we said, if you are working in energy or being new to energy, or maybe in intermediate or advanced, we tend to not trust what it is that we see. We see the dirt on the lens, but we want to tell ourselves that it's not. We want to tell ourselves that, oh, maybe it's just because of, it's not dirt, it's ink, or this and that, when literally it's like, nah, we showed you the dirt. It is dirt. Trust it, right? But so many people don't do that. Hey, Gem Sweet Pea. Hey, Dre. Oh, I'm so happy that you're here too. Orthoa, if a person isn't open to receiving love, can it block their clairvoyance? Well, it's not, well, definitely, yes. It doesn't, it's kind of like, look at it like a, look at it literally like a lens, right? If somebody has allowed dirt, such as negative energy, fears, the traumas that they've went through that they refuse to look at or see, then what that does is it doesn't really stop the third eye from functioning, but it does cloud it very, very, very much, which then short circuits it in kind of a way. So look at it like a computer board, right? If you have a nice, clean computer board, all of the connections are going to connect, and thus you have high-speed internet, you have good graphics, you have everything. However, if your computer board gets dusty and all the little dirts and bits and pieces get in all the little circuits, then you have a shoddy connection. So, or like when you're looking through a lens that has been smeared with dirt, it's like, technically you can kind of see through it. Some people can't because it's just totally blacked out. But literally, you're just not going to gain the very best information. So when you're giving yourself love and you're clearing that out, it's literally like the love powers the tissue that's going to wipe off that lens, right? To give you the clarity. So yes, if they're not receiving love, that's definitely going to cause smears or dirt in the circuit boards and the things that are not going to connect it there. But again, it's not necessarily about being able to receive love from the outside. It's about being able to feel it from the inside out, right? Your lens is covered, right? But that dirt comes from inside of you. So you've got to, the reverse kind of thing where, you know, if you're driving along, you know, the dirt comes on the windshield, but this time the dirt is coming from inside and you have to literally wipe it off the windshield from that perspective. So I hope that kind of helps. Orthoa, I keep seeing folks with the ability, but it's not fully activated. Notice those folks have blocks around emotion, love. Yes, definitely. So, and this is one of those things where, you know, when a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not clairvoyant, or I don't have visions, I don't see anything. That's what I'm like. What I do with them is I'm like, okay, well, give me a memory from when you were 5 years old. tell me about your birthday party when you were 5, or tell me about your first kiss or your first experience when you were 13, and then or when whatever age you were, and then they're like, oh yeah, they bring up the memory, and I'm like, all right, tell me, what were you wearing? What was around you? And they tell me what they were wearing. They're like, oh yeah, we were in this little shack, and I'm like, what color were the walls? And they're like, yeah, they were like wood and stuff like that, and I'm like, there you go. That is your clairvoyancy, right? You are looking at that memory through a clear lens. At that point, the image is coming back to you. So I'm like, that is clairvoyancy. The only problem is that when you want to apply that clairvoyancy to other areas, it's blocked because you don't because you're not giving yourself love in those areas or allowing it to come in. So that's what we got there. Trinidad Trucks, hi sweetheart. When are you doing the card pulls again? To be honest with you, sweetheart, I was planning to do more live readings this week. This coming week. I'm trying to balance out work and relaxation and rejuvenation cycles, right? Because I noticed that I was going way over here on the pendulum, like working too much and then resting too much, and so finding that balance. So, but yes, I will be coming at you again this week sometime to do those card pulls. Dre, yep, I used to say that too. No way I'm psychic. All of a sudden, my 30s. I know, right? It happens. It happens. Okay, so going on. Your imagination works much like a garden growing. Example, if you plant seeds of corn, flowers, peas, and lettuce, they will all look like dirt when they are seeds and planted. Does this mean that they do not exist? Of course not. Even when the corn sprouts, but the peas are still in the earth, or when the flowers bloom, but the lettuce is still just a little leaf that looks like a weed. Reality takes time depending on what is being created in the imagination. So let's put that. I'm going to put this into the concept that a lot of people are able to relate to. So let's say that you're new, like Dre, as you say, you hit your 30s and you're like, holy shit, my third eye is opening. I'm back to to understanding more about my energy because it's developed. And all of a sudden, when you're talking to a friend, let's say you are talking to a friend and this friend is going, oh my gosh, well, my marriage doesn't feel like it's going in the right way, and you're just talking, and you're like, or if you're a dude, you're like, I don't know if I really see myself with my wife anymore or anything like that, and you're having this conversation. Now all of a sudden, based on what your friend is saying, you get an image of them breaking up, let's say, and it's a messy breakup. Where you're like, oh gosh, as they're talking, you're seeing this, and you're just like, oh my gosh, she's gonna try to destroy your whole life, or he's gonna do this or that, right? And it's gonna be a really, really messy breakup, and you're getting this image. But of course, what you're doing is you're just like, no, that can't. I'm gonna mind my business. I'm gonna stay out of this. Like what I just saw is not what is reality. Right? Who knows what's going to happen? That is like you seeing, so the situation that you're talking, the conversation that you have is like the garden that just looks like dirt, right? You're just like, oh, I don't know. The seeds are the information that has been given to you that have now been planted, right? Your eye, your third eye, is now giving you the image of what those seeds are going to be looking like upon completion, right? Upon fruition. So in this example that we have here, so if you plant a seed of corn, flowers, peas, and lettuce, they will all look like dirt when the seeds are planted, right? So that, again, that conversation is, oh, I don't know if my marriage is going to work out. That's a seed planted, right? So now your energy in your third eye is immediately showing you the timeline or what that will look like in fruition. I feel this way about, and so again, this is information coming to you. So your friend's like, I feel like I would be happier with freedom. Seed planted. So now it's going to show you Of course, your third eye is showing you what that seed looks like, and so on, right? Now, so of course, some of these seeds are going to grow faster than others depending on the amount of energy that's put in there. So when this individual says, I want freedom, or I don't know if my marriage is going to work out or not, I feel constricted or whatever, that seed is going to take time to grow, right? But if they're like, I want freedom, that seed doesn't take as much time to grow as the other one. So what you may find is that throughout your vision, or throughout your so you had the vision, let's say you blew it off, but then throughout the coming days, as you're speaking to this friend, you're like, oh wow, so you actually did take your freedom, and you started, taking back more of yourself. That's wonderful. And then you're like, oh shit, now I actually see the fact that your partner is not happy. Oh shit, that seed's now growing. Right? And when they do break up, you're like, holy shit, that was really messy. Again, because when you were focusing on it, you were being shown or given all of the information that you need. If you were to feel and trust it, and again, we're going to go into this exercise in just a moment, it would have been more solid to you. So where you trust yourself. But again, in this example, this is exactly what it's like when you are seeing what you think is in your imagination based on your perspective of the whole situation, but it's just like, oh shit, this is happening. Dre, do you think sometimes we're seeing the possibilities? Yes, exactly. That is what is happening. You're seeing the potential outcome of what's going on. Now, this is why whenever we're having visions of these kinds of things, or when I'm having visions, this is why I definitely say this is what is the closest timeline. If you were not to make any changes and you were to continue on with life the way that you're going, right? Then that will take you down the energy road, or the to the creation of what I saw in that moment. However, if you use your free will and decide to pick up and go to Hawaii the next day, then that's a different possibility, right? Which now you've used your free will to curve that. So yes, Dre, when we are seeing these, we are seeing the closest version or the closest possibility that is about to come out, right? And this is why we're like, the more outlandish it is. So if you're like, okay, you guys are going to break up, but now I see that pink unicorn standing right beside you, and you're petting it and so forth, that is that's not the closest reality that's there. So that's going to take some time. If you kept focusing on it, at some point you will find that they will be beside a pink unicorn. It may not be alive. It may be a stuffed animal, but you're like, holy shit, you're beside a pink unicorn, So, yeah. Vladimir, wow, this is really clearing a lot for me, as I wasn't too sure what was coming through. I know, right? But this is where trusting in yourself really, really makes the difference, because the more you trust it and the more you understand this process of what's going on, the more you're able to track your visions and see them come into reality. Just like planting that seed of corn or that lettuce, and when they come up, everything looks like a little weed, but you're like, wait a second. In the next few weeks, this is going to shoot up. And a couple of weeks after that, it's going to grow ears of corn, right? So yes, trusting in that process will allow you to see it grow into fruition. Okay, so one of the main reasons, the likeness is a main issue. It tells you that the seeds you have planted are just dirt and will only ever be dirt, and abandon the image of the garden you have seen. Don't give in to this and realize the truth. Your garden is real. You just need to wait for it to show itself. Now, for those of you who are not sure of what a likeness is a form of negative energy that will, when you are stagnant, or for example, if you are about to crest into a new dimension or a new level of frequency or awareness, likeness will come in, because likeness is where it's the best way I like to describe it is it's the sink or swim kind of place. So you're in the middle of the ocean. You have a choice. You can either tread water and eventually sink, which is what the likeness is going to want to do. It's going to want to get into your head and say, there's no land around. There's no point in swimming. All we can do is just hold on, and eventually you're going to sink. And you're going to digress or degress into old thought patterns where you're like, okay, well, maybe I can't swim, and then you sink, right? Versus if you were to ignore that likeness, you'd be like, you know what, screw it. I'm out in the middle of nowhere. I'm going to pick a direction and I'm going to start swimming because I need to move. And eventually you find that you come into an island, right? Or something, or a boat or whatnot, because that's what the illusion of the lie and the fear will create, right? So in that moment where you're either sinking or swimming, if you were to be like, oh, okay, I'm going to imagine that I'm coming across an island, or that I'm coming across a boat, or that's the first thing that comes into my vision, then literally you have to keep swimming. This is the part of your garden that's growing, right? And let that that image come, or let that part of your imagination come into reality. But again, or yeah, Dre, leap of faith moment. Yes, exactly. And that's trust, right? It's to surrender, to allow yourself to surrender to your own energy, to your own imagination that you are experiencing, right? But that likeness is going to be like, nope, don't. What you saw, that's not real. Just sink. You know? And this is the battle a lot of energy workers face, and this is why so many of us can feel like giving up. Right? Because we're just like, what? I'm getting such outlandish information. I haven't understood this before. I've never seen this before. And it's easier to just crunch down and just accept that, no, it's just dirt. It's never going to be anything. It's like, nah, that's a fucking garden. You just got to wait. You know, give it till springtime. You're going to have lots of food in abundance. But if you give up on it now and don't put your energy into it, then that's exactly what happens. Right? You believe the lie and things start to degrade. Or throw a doubt. Yes, exactly. Okay, so let's look at how to actually feel the realness of the function in the imagination. Your energy is transparent, so use it to feel rather than think. Okay, so this is part, we are going to go through this exercise right now. So let's have a look at what time it is. Excellent, I'm still on time. If you haven't already, go grab some water. If you do plan to go into this exercise now with me, all right, because we are going to need to vibrate and we're going to feel some shit and go through this. So get your water out. Let's go for it. All righty. Little goes a long way. It's like a little top up on the oil in the old car there to allow everything to go nice and freely. So we are going to go through two practices using your imagination, all right, using the visions and so forth. If you're like, Coolip, I am not good at visions, I am not doing that, don't worry, you're going to go with what you feel is more familiar. You can take a memory, you can take something inside of this room or your room or wherever you are, and base it on something that you're already familiar with. And the outlandish part is meant to be outlandish, or it's meant to be something quite mystical or whatnot, so don't worry about that part too. All right, so as you have gotten your water, if you are wearing any jewelry, any earrings, any bracelets, watches, necklaces, piercings, if they can, or any metal that connects to you in a circle, like a wrist watch or something that connects all the way in a circle around you. If you can safely remove it, I highly recommend removing that now, so we don't interfere with the vibrations as to what it is that you're feeling. All right, really, really important. I do, just based on that, while you're all getting your jewelries and stuff off, and even if you have glasses on, don't get me wrong, the glasses don't necessarily... they won't cause a huge impact. However, when you are trying to relax both your physical and ethereal vessels and body, even the slightest touch is you're going to feel it, and it's going to put pressure on your right here and so forth, depending on how heavy your glasses are. So if you don't mind removing your glasses, I definitely recommend removing those at this moment. Okay, so once you have removed everything and you're feeling good safely, if you haven't been able to remove it safely, don't worry about it. We will work around it. You're just going to need to focus a little bit harder, but that's okay too. All right. Get yourself in a nice and relaxed position. So if you need to stretch it out, clearly I'm like, you got to do a little yoga in the chair, do some yoga in the chair. Get yourself feeling good. Okay. Now, once you are either seated or laying down, what you are going to do is you're going to take in a nice deep breath. If you can do this 4 or 5 times, that would be fantastic. I'm going to let you go to your own pace. But what you're going to do is you're going to inhale as deep as you can go. And then you are going to hold it for about 2 seconds and release. Now, each time you are inhaling and holding and releasing, I want you to imagine that you are inhaling as you're getting nice and full, just full to capacity of this new fresh energy. And every time you release, you are going to relax. You are going to literally, I want you to focus and tell your physical vessel to relax, right? And that's all that you're trying to do. So inhale and exhale, and you're just going to relax even deeper. All right, and keep going through that. Now, as you get to about your 3rd breath, I want you to close your eyes, and as you're inhaling, I want you to picture your own vessel as you are. Just in your mind's eye, picture your body as it is, and tell that image to also relax. You should feel a nice tingling sensation run through, or where you're just like, oh, wow, that's a little bit different, because we're relaxing both our material vessel and our ethereal vessel, our ethereal body at the same time. So inhale and exhale. We're relaxed. Okay, perfect. And Dre, you say, yes, I always have to take my glasses off for Reiki and meditation. Funny how that little thing can throw off the process. Oh my gosh. Don't wear any jewelry or crystals or any beads or anything for about a week or a few days, and assess how you feel, then put something back on, and then you'll be like, holy shit. This is what it's been like? It's like, Hey there, Andrea, sweetheart. Oh, bless you. No worries. You watch the replay when you're ready, honey buddy. Okay. So now that we are all fully relaxed, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over there and I'm going to touch both your heart space and your 3rd eye. So with this, with your eyes, if you do not want to participate with me in this way, then don't worry. You could just either say inside your head or out loud, no, I don't want to, and that's absolutely fine. However, if you are like, nope, I'm doing this, I'm relaxing and so forth, I will take that as, all right, we're joining in, and I'm going to come over there. Now, so what I want you to do is I want you to focus on your heart space as you're nice and relaxed. Now, I'm going to come over there, and you can imagine that I'm right there in front of you, okay? And I'm going to take my right hand, and it's going to be very, very bright, white light coming from my right hand. So imagine this with me. And I'm going to slowly touch your chest, touch your heart space. Now, what I'm doing is my white light is now connecting to your white light in your chest, okay? So as I do this, you may start to feel a little pressure, but otherwise you should start to feel some nice tingles, maybe even a little giggle that may want to come out. I tend to do that. I tend to feel like a little giggle when I do this. Okay, so nice and relaxed. Let's get you touched. Right, some of you are connected, others are feeling a little fearful. So if you're feeling a little fearful of this, try to communicate with yourself instead. And what you can do is imagine that you're touching your own heart. And I'm just going to amplify a little bit of that. Right, let's clear away any blockages here. If you start feeling a little, as I'm doing this, if you start feeling, thank you, Ortho. If you start feeling a little bit of closure in your throat or heaviness on your chest, give me just a half second. If you feel that in your throat, I want you to open your mouth and just breathe and let it release. because there's very many of us that are holding a lot of toxicity over our heart space, or kind of like a shield. So we're just going to pump some energy through and burn that shit off so we can get the best out of this practice today. You feel that, Dre? Yeah, nice. Give it just a hot second. Right, and I'm going to really, really, really encourage a few of you that after this practice, go out and scream. Go out and let it out. The frustrations that are inside of us because we haven't been expressing ourselves, because we haven't been allowed to let ourselves loose, to express and feel and to do what we need to do. You got to go do that, okay? All right? Because I'm like, yo, let's burn this off. Almost there. You may start to feel a little hot. That's okay. It's going to come. 3, 2, 1, and release. All right, we're good. Hey, Tamiki, sweetie, welcome, welcome, welcome. Mark, you can feel that pressure? Okay, no worries, no worries. Now, for some of you, I may stay a little bit longer. Did you feel the flush, the heat's coming through? Yep, because we're burning that shit off. Okay, so now that we've got the heart space, I am going to now come and I'm going to be touching, well, basically I'm going to put my palm on your third eye, all right? Now, as I do this, because what we're doing is we're cleaning some shit, right? So for some of you who are just like, I am foggy, I am not able to see, I'm just going to come over there and we're just kind of put you through the car wash or the window cleaning of your third eye. Now, what you may feel is you may start to feel a little pressure and a little bit of heat coming on your forehead or just in your head in general. If you do feel a little, and sometimes you may find that the energy is swirling. If you can just hold on and bear with me just a little bit, it'll only take a moment to get this out. And as well, if you're just like, if you're having trouble, you can always imagine yourself popping your palm on your third eye, and we'll go from there. Okay, so let's have a Dre, you just started sweating, I know. There's a lot of energy going through. All right, let's do this. Focus on your third eye at this very moment. And what we're going to do is we're going to release any toxicity. Is going to come up through your crown to be released and removed and just dissolved. Okay. All right. How do you feel? Did you feel the pressure coming into there? If you didn't feel any pressure and you're just like, oh, okay. If your third eye was already kind of clean in that kind of moment, you should feel just a nice fresh, kind of like a spring of energy just flushing through and just be like, oh, that feels nice. For some of you, you may start to get a little warm, a little hot, or a little confused or a little dizzy as the energy is swirling. But do not worry. It is going to clear. All right. So you should be able to breathe nice and clearly, nice and freely, feeling good. All right. Okay. Dre, you feel warm but lighter. Excellent stuff. Yeah, it's a nice kind of clear, easy breathing thing. So we're connecting our hearts and our mind's eye, cleaning those suckers out. And so now we should be nice and ready. Mark, you feel a little dizzy? Okay, don't worry. Just allow the energy to process out. So just imagine that whatever was swirling in there is now kind of the motion or the current. Instead of continuously swirling, it's now being released upwards and outwards. Okay? And then as it does, it's like, pressure relief, you know, and we feel good at that point. Okay, so let's go on. Now that we are connected, now that we're good, we can get on to the exercise and the practice. So the very first one is we are going to feel what it is like when something is is already in existence or already within reality, or very close in terms of creation. Okay. And this is, again, I want you to, we're really in touch with our feelings today, because what you feel is real rather than what you think. All right. So with your eyes closed and yourself nice and relaxed and just like, okay, all this energy's through me. I'm buzzing. I'm maybe a little warm, but my temperature's started to stabilize now, and we're good. Now, we are going to create, I want you to create an imagine, you're going to imagine, all right? So we're going to use that word, we're imagining things at this very moment. Now, let's have a look here. Let's start with something familiar. I want you to either pick something physical that is around you. You can pick, for example, the water bottle that you just drank from, or your wall, or your TV, or whatever it is that is physical around you. So you can have an image of that. Or if you're like, that's not working for me, I want you to choose a very common memory that you have. Something that you can remember really strongly, such as maybe something you did the other day or a week ago, or a memory, or just a really strong memory, maybe from when you were 5 and your favorite 5-year-old birthday party or whatever, something that is really, really strong inside you. If you are choosing a memory, do make it a positive memory. Okay? We do not need to be going through any sort of inner work right now in this lesson. That is for after the lesson. So choose a positive memory or something where you're just like, yeah, this felt really, really good. So go for that one. Or you can also just imagine a space that you have experienced before. Maybe your work office, or the park that you normally go to or walk in, whatever it is. So keep that image in your mind's eye, or like, again, where our eyes are closed at this point. Just because you know it is reality right there doesn't mean that you can't imagine it in your mind's eye. Okay? So when you have that image, what I want you to do is, whatever you are experiencing at this very moment with your eyes closed, I want you to touch it. Okay? So be aware of your surroundings. So as your eyes are closed, if the object that you are touching or the memory that you're going through, I want you to touch something that you are experiencing. So if it's the object, go and touch the object. As you are touching the object, I want you to focus on the sensations that are in your fingertips in this image that you are touching, in your imagination. Okay? If you are outside in an area, so let's say you chose your favorite park to go to imagine at this moment, I want you to touch a tree or touch a leaf or touch the water, touch the surrounding areas. Smell it, breathe it in. You are focusing your energy on experiencing the physicality of this part in your imagination. Okay? Or if it is a memory, if it is that happy memory of, let's say you're with one of your best friends from childhood, I want you to reach out and touch your friend, right? Touch. So let's experience this. All right, I will do it with you. Now, as soon as you start touching, you should start to feel a physical vibration in your palm, or using whatever limb that you are touching with. You should feel a nice physical vibration going on there. Not only will you feel it in your imagination, but you will also feel it physically on your vessel. Okay? Now, I want you to just, once you've done that, I just want you to take a moment to feel what it's like, or log that in your sensories, right? So that you could be like, yep, that's what it feels like, right? I that was really, really strong, or that, just whatever it was, just take awareness or observe what that feeling is like. And tell us in the comments, what did you feel? How was that experience? Now, a lot of the times for myself, whenever I'm feeling something, it literally is just as it is on my hand. As long as my physical vessel is relaxed and my ethereal vessel is also relaxed to allow the energy to channel through, I physically feel it, right? So if I were to brush up against something on my shoulder, I will feel that on my shoulder. It just literally feels like a vibration. Or As I'm touching my hand, there's a little tingle that's going in there. That's what I feel. What is it that you feel? Now, when we get to a little bit more about your experiences, and as you've logged that into your cranium there, we will go on to the next step. Okay. All right. I'm just waiting for you at this moment. Let me know when you are ready, and then we will go on from there. And again, these things are already in existence at this moment, or have been in existence before. So the whole point of this exercise is to literally be able to tell the density of energy, right? When something is already, because anything that comes into this material world will have a solid foundation within their vibration, right? So what do I mean by that? I mean, this piece of paper that I'm holding up, although it's very light, although it's there's not much to it, it still has a vibration. It still has a frequency, which makes it solid, right? I have to put more force to rip this piece of paper because it has a vibration and it is solid. These molecules have come together, the atoms have arranged, and it is now paper, right? So that, even though it is light in this dimension, it still took a decent amount of energy to make this into a reality, right? And thus, I can feel the reality of it within my imagination because I'm physically touching it, right? It has a strong energy signature. A lot of energy went into it, right? Okay. So tell me, how are you feeling? How did you feel when you had that, when you felt this? You know, whatever it was that you felt. Orthoa, I did in my ribs, warm sand, coconut oil, ocean air, tropical heat and wind, could feel Orton's skin tingling like electricity. Excellent! Yes, because Orton is definitely... Oh! What? Are we saying that you felt a dick in your ribs? Well, all right. You know, whatever you guys want to do, whatever you guys want to feel in that area. I'd probably want it closer to the vajayjay or something like that. But okay, if you feel like a dick in your ribs, my dear, then shit, that's some freaky ass shit. I'm playing. I'm playing. I just thought it was funny. Oh gosh. Okay, so focus. You can see I'm starting to blush. All right, Vladimir. Now that is some. So I'm getting an image of these things. And I'm like, oh, that's very lovely. Okay, all right. I gotta move forward. But I'm glad that you felt it. Either way, Ortho, I'm glad that you felt whatever it was that you felt. I'm glad that you felt it, though. You know, and it was a nice, strong vibration. Vladimir, mine was this tree from a park nearby. I can feel the texture of the leaves, the bark. My hands felt very tingly. Perfect. All right. What else did you guys experience? Right? Dre, salt baths are my happy place. I first touched my head and felt my wet, warm hair from the bath and focused on feeling the water. I could feel the water on my skin. I put my hands above one of my candles and I could feel the heat and almost burning in my hand from the candle. Perfect! Excellent! Right? Mark, it's very strong. Right, exactly. All right, so just think of those now I want you to think if you had any image that came to you, right? And if you were to, within that image, take a hot second, and you're like, wait a second, I'm seeing this shit, but is it reality? But if you are able to go back to that image or stay within that image when it's happening and touch something and feel it, and you're like, holy shit, that is right there. That's when you know that, oh shit, this is either already in existence right now or it is very close to being in existence, right? That is what we have. That is how you know what is actually going to be in this reality coming true or to be experienced by the strength of that vibration, Mark, I saw a vision of my past. I saw my younger self sitting on a step in a summer. Oh, nice. Nice. Right? So just think, and that would have happened at some point, or experienced it at some point, and that's why it's really strong. Right though? There you go. There you go. Vladimir, lol, right after this tree came to life I was literally moving around. Right, exactly. That's when you know this is some true ass shit. Ortho, I know you gonna have some real good times. You gotta go get freaky deaky. I love it. Make some love, girl. Okay. So, now let's do the same thing, with something really outlandish. I want you to go craze balls. All right. I want you to really dig to the depths of your imagination in this moment. All right. And as you're digging to the depths of your imagination, just go nuts. All right. So for example, you can, I watch a lot of, I just actually realized that I'm like an otaku. For those of you who don't know that term, it's an adult that really enjoys anime or the nostalgics of, that kind of world. I'm not a weeb, but an otaku, right? Because I really enjoy these things. I don't have figurines or anything, but I do enjoy this genre. So of course my imagination or the things that I can create can be really expansive because I'm connected to that part of myself. So I just thought it was really funny. I was watching one. I was like, oh my gosh, I do that. Anyway, so and when I say outlandish, I mean like freaking make a fantasy, like Game of Thrones, be Khaleesi, something that you would just be like, wow, that's not going to be in reality, or that's not going to be here. Either way, picture it in your mind now. Let's Dre, my kids and partner love anime. Yeah, we do. We're growing. The amount of people that are out there, I know it. But okay, so let's picture that now. I'm literally going to be picturing, for me, a dragon keeps coming in, or the mythical kind of bits like dragons and unicorns and princesses and high towers and all that shit. So that's what I'm going to be picturing, and I'll see what you can picture at this moment. Now, as you have the image in your head, what you're going to do is you're going to do the same thing. You are going to experience it. I want you to touch it. I want you to breathe in your environment. I want you to look around you in that image or whatever it is that you're imagining and literally try to experience it. All right, and tell me what you felt. Now, as you're doing that, Drake's gonna have to birth me some dragon babies. Yeah. Now, you know what? Just before you put dragon babies into creation, just remind yourself as to how difficult they are to keep in terms of the food that they eat, play areas. Khaleesi had to go through it. She's just like, oh shit, my kids are eating all the other kids. So I'm just saying that before you want to go and birth dragons and shit, they need sustenance. Anyway, okay. So what you will notice, right, is in this outlandish kind of image that you have in your mind's eye, when you try to experience it, it's not going to be as strong, right? Logical thinking, I know, right? That's the thing. You want something to be reality, you got to think logically about it. All right. So as you're thinking of this, hi Moon, it's lovely to see you, sweetheart. And we're talking about unicorns and everything, and there you go. So what you're gonna find is that when something is quite outlandish or it's not quite available to be in reality at this very moment or within this time scale, the sensations are not going to be as strong. right? Now, I said dragons and unicorns. However, if you are an individual that constantly thinks about dragons or constantly thinks about unicorns, you're probably actually going to feel it more strongly. And that's because you have put so much energy into it to focus it into this reality. So you are going to experience it in some way or another. Now, the realness of that entity or that situation can come in a million different ways. So, for example, if you do think about unicorns all the time, when you have that unicorn in your mind's eye, you may be touching it. You may be like, "Oh my gosh, I can feel it." And then what's going to happen is maybe you're at a birthday party, a kid's birthday party or something, and they hire a horse and they have a horn glued onto it or something. And they'll be like, "Oh, that was the closest part of reality that you can touch a unicorn," and then you feel it, right? But you'll notice that if it's really quite distant, or depending on how that image is, when you try to experience it, it doesn't come through as strong, right? It's more illusionary, or it's more not illusionary. It's more of just a like transparency in terms of an image that you may be able to touch through, or very, very light, kind of like it comes through as a feather rather than a holy shit, my hand's really hot. And that's because it does exist, but it's so far away, or it doesn't have enough of your energy, just like a seed, right? You can hold lettuce seeds in your hand and they're like this small and they don't really feel like anything, versus if you have a whole big full bowl of lettuce, that took a lot more energy to grow. It took a lot more time, so now it has a lot more substance, right? Versus the unicorn in your wildest dreams, or this or that. Now, if parts of your image are stronger than others, so for example, you may be like, okay, I want to touch this unicorn. However, I'm thinking of this unicorn in a big open grassy field with mountains and so forth. You can touch the grass and the ground will be very solid and you'll have a really strong vibration. But if you try to touch the unicorn or the imaginary thing, it may not be as strong. So some things will have more energy than others in your vision. So this is why it's so important to be aware of all of the kind of bits and pieces, right? So if I were to do that, I'd be like, all right, so I know that in my imagination, the ground and the rocks and the trees and everything, those are actually already in reality because I can feel them very strongly when I try to touch them. However, the unicorn is not so much in reality just yet, so it's very light. It's very, I can't experience it very much. But if I keep focusing on it, I will build more pathways in my energy that recognize this feeling, and thus I will come into a unicorn at some point. Now, you may be looking at me like, that sounds like total horseshit, Coolip. If unicorns were real, then why aren't they around all the time? Well, to be honest with you, it's because people don't believe that they are real. They believe that they are mythical. So because they believe that they are mythical, then they do not have enough energy to come into existence. The reality of a unicorn will stay as an illusion or an image because that is what we perceive it to be, right? However, if we were like, no, I want to know what's real or not, and you were to feel it and keep focusing on it, well, shit, that shit's going to become real, right? Good afternoon, Nicole, sweetie. Welcome, my dear. Mark, focus on a number, and then you will start seeing that number on clocks, etc., as it will stand out. Exactly, right? Same thing. Whatever you focus on, literally your energy gets, and thus it becomes stronger and will come into reality. Jem, I need more practice. Don't worry about it. This does take practice. It takes a lot of time. You know, I wouldn't be here in front of you today if I didn't practice my ass off at all of these things. But that's why I don't go out and work for an employer. I spend all of my time doing a lot of introspection and feeling all of this shit. So that I can pass it on, right? So it definitely does take practice. So if you're not finding that you're able to get these things up immediately, don't worry. Keep working that, keep focusing on that, and you will become an expert, because that's exactly what happens. You're very, very welcome, Dre. I'm glad that you enjoyed the class in itself. So now I want you to apply this practice that we did. I want you to apply this to anything, everything and everything that you literally experience in your visions. Now, for some of you who are energy workers, energy readers, energy healers, doing the Reikis, doing anything like that when it comes to using this, if you are ever questioning yourself again, where you're like, wait a second, I just saw this. Is it real? Is it coming into fruition? Sit for a moment, get yourself nice and relaxed, and in that vision, touch it and experience it. If it seems really solid, really strong, your hands get heavy, like, like not heavy, but you feel it strongly, you'd be like, oh shit, this shit's coming true, or this shit is already here, and this is my warning, or this is my awareness trying to tell me about this thing so I can address it, right? Take it seriously because it's there. But at the same time, if you're like, I can't feel shit with this, then you'll know that, wow, this is very, very distant, and you can choose whether you want to continuously put your energy into it, or if at that point you want to withdraw from it, right? So, and this also helps, I get a lot of people ask me about their kids, right? They're like, are my kids going to be okay? Will my kids be okay, right? So whatever thought that you have that made you worry in the first place, bring it up in your mind's eye and touch that shit. If it doesn't have a lot of vibration to it, you'll know that, no, whatever I was just thinking, that's some bullshit. I ain't going to go with it. But if it's really strong, then you'll be like, oh shit, I'm going to check up on my kiddo because I know something's about to go down, right? So things like that. This is what we can do with everything. Elio, is this a technique then to know how to close how close we are to manifesting something is how real we feel it in our senses during imagining it? Yes, exactly. You can apply that to so many things, right? Apply it. So you're absolutely right. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some things that just literally take depending on their density, is going to be a reflection of how much energy that is needed to go into this, right? So, for example, this is why I'm like, oh, this paper doesn't have a really strong density, right? So it doesn't take much to manifest a physical piece of paper. However, the materials that the paper is made out of were very, very dense. We had to wait for a tree to grow into maturity before it was able to be cut down and turned into this kind of paper in the first place, right? So although it looks like so when you feel it, it may feel a little bit lighter, but again, look at what it is that you are manifesting or that you are imagining, right? So if you wanted to imagine a house, if you're like, okay, I'm manifesting the house, the dream house that I want to live in and that I want to experience and so forth, that is going to take time because there is a lot of density in that. Otherwise, it may already be in creation. If it's already in creation, your dream house and everything, because you didn't have to build it, then when you touch it, it is going to be very, very solid because it's already there. And all at that point you got to do is let the timeline run out, right? Sorry, choking on my own stuff. My bad. Woo! So yeah. That is it from me then in terms of today's Spiritual Awakening class number 22. How to tell what is real versus what is in your imagination. I do very much so hope that this class helped or at least opened up your perspective a little bit going forward. And again, I challenge everybody to try this for a week, right? Every image that you get, learn to trust yourself by feeling whether it is real or how close or how far away or what development part is this image in your imagination, right? So do it for a week. Really, really try it out. And you'll find that every single time you feel something solid, you're like, holy shit, this is about to go down, right? Or at some point, this is going to be in my timeline. And so I can trust that image. And if it's not, then you'll be like, all right, I know what to do. I know what to do. Dre, what is it called when you can read energy from objects through touch? Oh shit. I forget the term of it, but it has photo in it somewhere. I know somebody won't be able to tell you what that is specifically. But to be honest with you, I try to just be like, I look at that more of, depending on how much or whatever energy that you are reading from that. There is a specific term for it, but I'm like, if you're clairvoyant and you touch an object, you get images. Sometimes if you're cognizant, you'll touch an object and you'll just simply know the energy, because that's how you read energy, right? Because every single thing is connected to each other within a spider web. So yes, you can definitely, it's right there, but I can't remember. I know, right? Not photosynthesis. That's it's. Oh, fuck it. We'll Google it. But I just call it reading energy in general. I'm like, shit. Same book, different cover. But anyway, if any of you do require some extra help or assistance along your spiritual awakening journey, you are more than welcome to go into the description box and book yourself in a formal appointment with me through my website. Or if you're just like, I just want a little bit of information, but I don't need a formal session, I am now doing readings by donation. Only though on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. Again, me trying to find my work-life balance. So if you would like a reading by donation, and again, we can go through a lot of different things in these, then do, by all means, you can send me either a private message or pop over a donation. If you go into my profile, there's the clip there that'll show you what to do. And then basically you get into the queue of readings that I get to on the Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. And of course, for those of you who have made a donation, to say thank you or to just show your gratitude or appreciation for these classes, I appreciate the fuck out of you. Thank you so much. I definitely do enjoy doing these classes as well. So with that being said, have a fantastic rest of your Sunday. Have fun doing these visions and doing all of these bits and pieces. And I will see you again on Tuesday for class number 23. Don't know what we're talking about yet, but I'm sure it'll be a good one. All right. Love you guys. Bye, honey buns.